What's up, witches? What's up? I'm here. Oh, hey. I love checking my emails and there's money. Yes. What's up, witches? How we doing? What's up? What's up? Hi, everybody. Happy birthday, June. Yes, happy birthday. Ooh, you went to a rooftop brunch. Love it, love it. What's up? What's up? Let's see who's in the building. Hello, Takara. Hi, June. Hey, Candace. Hey, Leslyn. Nisi's here. What's up? What's up, witches? Hey, Nuri. Everybody say hi to Nuri, our Coven moderator. What's up? What's up? Screen went black? Really? Did it? Is everybody okay? Are we all right? My battery's not fully charged, but it's all right. Okay, we got it. We're good. Good, good, good. What is up, witches? How we doing? Just a reminder to everybody who is tuning in, especially if you're tuning in on YouTube, if you want to be in the stream room, if you want to see your comments on the screen, if you want me to answer your questions and interact with you, then you are going to need to be in the Coven community. This is a Coven exclusive stream. I do stream to YouTube, so my YouTube witches get an opportunity to tune in, but it is not the full experience. And I don't always stream live to YouTube while the high tea lives are happening. So keep that in mind. This is something that I just do sometimes so that folks on YouTube know what's going on in the Coven community. We have lots going on in the Coven community, a book club, a support group for witches of color, moonlit metaphysics with our online portal administrator, Alexis, on all different types of topics on astrology and energy work. We have behind the scenes live streams of our guest instructor classes, which is a huge perk, discounts, all that good stuff. The Coven community is definitely the place to be. Plus, you get to talk with your fellow witches. There's a discussion feed with subspaces on different topics, including spells, Black Herman, discussions about classes, all of that good stuff. So you definitely want to join the Coven. Click the link in the description of this video for access. You get a 7-day free trial when you do, and it's only $9.99 a month after that. So it is definitely the best place to be if you want to be a part of this growing, amazing community. I just checked and there's 123 of us now, which is so cool, which is from all over the world, different traditions. There is no high priestess, there's no initiation. Get my ears together. That is why Coven is in quotation marks. We are not a traditional initiatory coven. We are a group of solitary witches that love to be solitary but don't want to be alone, want to have friends. So we all hang out in that space, and we welcome you to join us. Hey, hey. Hey, Candace. Yes, I am. Very much. Got to see my family, which was fantastic. Trying to do that more often as my mom and my aunts and uncles are all getting older. They're in their 80s. So it's so important that I spend as much time with them as I possibly can. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, hey. Takara missed book club earlier. I did too. No worries. I'm going to watch the replay, which is on the BronxWitch HQ YouTube channel. If you guys don't know, the shop has a YouTube channel where we post the replays of our live streams, depending on what it is, of course. But the book club is one that we repost on our HQ YouTube. So you can go and watch the replay if you missed it. I'm going to do that tonight and catch up because I want to see what people are saying about 78 Degrees of Tarot. 70 degrees of wisdom. Yeah. What's up, everybody? Yes, and welcome to the YouTube Witches. If you're wondering why your comments are not on the screen or why I'm not addressing you, that is because this is a live stream that is exclusive for the Coven Witches, but I am broadcasting to YouTube right now so that folks on YouTube know what we do around here. And if this is your first time here, whether you're in the stream room or watching on YouTube, this is High Tea Live. This is my monthly live. I go live around the full moon every month to answer your magical questions. Basically, it's a live Q&A to keep us kind of organized so that we're not all over the place. And so I'm not answering the same question all the time. I usually have a theme for us so we can sort of like have a topic to kickstart the conversation. And today's theme is monitoring spirits. Something that some of you may not have ever heard of, though you may have experienced it and not know what to call it. So I'm going to be talking about what a monitoring spirit is, how to identify that you have that going on in your life. I think that's super important. And then I want to tell you my experience recently with the monitoring spirit and what I did to get that spirit up off of me. And I'm going to share the stories of exactly what happened to let me know that I was successful in that, because it was kind of freaky, but pretty cool how it all played out. Definitely something I had no experience with, and something that I kind of thought wasn't really thinking about was a potential issue. And Ahmad, hey Ahmad, what's up? I just mentioned you. I think I just summoned you. I was just about to talk about the comment that you made recently about having certain protections in place and being of a certain vibration, and how that can protect you from certain energies and certain, spiritual occurrences, which is something that I was kind of falling back on, but maybe had been a little bit naive. And I learned a lot in this scenario. So yeah, I'm excited to share that with you guys. Thank you. This came in like a I ordered like a facial steam spa thing from like Amazon back in the day, and this came with it. So it's like a spa headband for like keeping your hair back when you wash your hair. I'm glad you like it. The ears never cooperate. Hey everybody. What's up? Okay, I'm gonna get some music going. Last time I was bamboozled, hoodwinked, shenanigans by the playlist that claimed to be ad free and was definitely not ad free. So let's see if I can find some good music. In the meantime, everybody, well, we know what Ahmad is having, but drop your herbs down in the comments if you are enjoying some herbs this evening. Are you smoking some herbs, eating some herbs, drinking some herbal tea? Are you enjoying some herbs? Today, I am burning some rosemary by my bed. I want to be fully energized over the next couple of days, even though with this heat, honey, I might just stay right here in my bedroom with the AC on. But I do have things that I would like to do. So I want to be energized. So I am not consuming of any herbs this evening, but I am burning some rosemary, my go-to favorite by the bed. Thank you. I think it's sweat. It's hot. It's hot. I'm conserving energy. I'm doing my part. So I have the AC off in the rest of my apartment. So I'm just in my bedroom. I've been in here for literally over 24 hours. I went to visit a friend, and now I am back. And I've been here since yesterday. Okay, so This says copyright free music. I don't know if that means no ads, but we'll see. It's facts. I'm just hot. It's hot. Okay, Candace is sipping holy basil, aka Tulsi, with rose tea. That sounds really good. Love me some Tulsi. Yeah, that's my secret, you guys. If you're wondering, what's Allie's secret to glowing skin? Just not having the AC up quite as high as I probably should. That's how we do it. Okay. All right. Get comfy. That sounds really good, Candace. Tulsi and rose tea sounds fantastic. June is having frozen passion fruit margaritas and nachos. Yes, I expect no less on your birthday. That sounds fantastic. Nuri is drinking stress-free tea, a recipe from Karen Rose's spiritual herbalism book. Love that. Love some Karen Rose. Shout out to her. And burning some healing incense because being with you witches like this is healing for me. I know that feeling very much. And we've got a little bowl going. Yes, very much support it. Tornado watch in the Northeast. You better lay low. Everybody lay low. Okay. It's not ad free. I know. Okay. Let's see. I would just play like whatever on my playlist, but then YouTube wants to comfort me. And I'm sharing this for the YouTube folks. You see the sacrifices I make for you, YouTube, so you can be in the room. Oh. Takara. Takara. Yes. That would be another reason for the glow, visiting my friends. Let's see, the YouTube folks are in here, so I won't be too revealing. My Coven witches know about my friends. And yeah, got to go see them yesterday, which was beautiful. Super beautiful. So yes, welcome. Come on into the room. For those of you who just entered, I'm Allie, aka BronxWitch. You have just stumbled across High Tea Live. This is our monthly hangout session. It happens around the full moon every month. We come together to answer magical questions. Basically, if you follow me on Instagram or if you saw some of the shorts that I posted recently on YouTube, I do enjoy answering your witchy questions. I love a little Q&A. It's a great experience for me as a teacher because if you can't explain things to other people, then you probably shouldn't be teaching on the topic, right? So I like to make sure that I am able to answer folks' questions. And I just like making myself available to other witches who are at different stages of their journey or maybe just have some questions about a particular topic. So I did a little Q&A on Instagram and YouTube, and that was a lot of fun. So basically, this is like a long form version of that where you can ask questions down in the comments, and I will do my best to answer them. It's a great time to bring questions about spell work, about divination, energy healing, about lifestyle, which lifestyle, things that I have dealt with, have to deal with, how you might better deal with certain things in your lives, etc. And I usually pick a topic to try to keep us kind of oriented and not too all over the place and to prevent me from answering the same questions every live. So in this session, we are going to be talking about monitoring spirits, something that is new to me. And that I really didn't have a reason to educate myself on until I had a personal experience with one. and had to banish it up out of my life. So I'm going to tell you guys that story, tell you what I learned, tell you the ritual and spell work that I did. I also brought some pictures and some video of the work that I did to kind of show you a little behind the scenes of what it looked like. I used a poppet in this case. I made a poppet because I knew where the spirit was coming from. And so I was able to also do a little bit of crafting, which is always fun for we witches. We enjoy the opportunity to craft when we can. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. Before I start, I'll give anybody else an opportunity to share their herbs today. If anybody wants to share what they're drinking on, what they're smoking on, what they're sipping on as they come into the room. This is called high tea because when I first started these, I was always smoking cannabis, which is something that I don't do as much anymore. But it's still high tea because these sessions are a new form of getting high for me. I get high in a different way now. And I enjoy that. And I support whatever ways you guys raise your vibrations, and definitely love when you share them with everybody. Yes, Cynthia, get some rest. I support that too. I'm surprised my candle is holding up, but I think that is because it is a lucid candle. So these people have not reached out to me yet for sponsorship. I'm waiting for the day. I'm like, you guys, come knocking on my door because I talk about these more than anybody else. But shout out to Lucid Candles. Isn't that wonderful? No wax, hard plastic. You fill it with a liquid like an oil lamp, and then it burns like a regular candle. It's gorgeous. I love it. And because the wick is like a thick cotton wick, the flame is really strong. So it doesn't just blow out really easily when there's like a breeze or there's some wind or whatever, which I love. This light out of our faces. Burn a little bit more rosemary. And hopefully you guys can hear me okay, because I definitely have like every fan and AC pointed directly at me. Yes, exactly. We say high blessed, high vibrational, all of that stuff. How I get high has changed, but this is still definitely high tea. So if you are drinking any herb, smoking any herb, burning any herb like I am, definitely drop it in the comments and let us know which beautiful herbal ally is hanging out with you today. Okay, Cynthia, don't push yourself too hard, okay? When you got to tap out, tap out. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, welcome, welcome. If you want to get into the stream room, see your comments on the screen, get your questions answered by me and all of that good stuff, then make sure you go into the Coven and join the stream room. If you're wondering how to find the Coven, there is a link down in the description box. So you're welcome to tune in and hang out, but I won't be taking your questions. Okay? It is what it is. Welcome, welcome. All right, so let's get into it. Story time, y'all. Okay, monitoring spirit situation. First of all, how do you know that you have a monitoring spirit in your life, in your energy field, in your vibration? What is one? All that good stuff. So let's start with the preliminary information. What is a monitoring spirit? A monitoring spirit is a an energy, an entity. It can differ in my research. That has been either created for the purpose of or tasked with the instruction of monitoring somebody, spying on a person, a place, a thing, observing that thing and reporting back basically to the person that has created it or employed it about what is going on in the life of the person, place, thing that it is tasked with observing. Okay, so it's a spy, basically. A spiritual spy is the easiest way to describe it. And monitoring spirits can either be contracted or they can be created. A contracted monitoring spirit is a spirit that perhaps already, for whatever reason, is attached to the person that is giving it the instruction. And that person has basically said, hey, spirit, can you please do this thing for me? I need you to observe this person, observe this situation, and bring back information. So that's when a monitoring spirit is contracted. But it can also be created. It can also be generated. An energy of observance can be generated for the purpose of doing the spying. And I'll also say, going back to the contracted spirit, not only can other energies that are attached to you be given this contract or given this instruction to go monitor for you, your spirit can also do the same thing. So we all have different levels to us. We are not just our physical bodies. I think if you're in this room, that part you already understand. But we also have spiritual selves. And you might hear people talk about this as your higher self. In the Better Witch Magic Intensive, I refer to this version of ourself as our true self. It's our energetic self that exists beyond this physical body. We also have an astral self. Some people would say that there's a version of us that exists just in dream state, that really only exists in the astral realms, etc. However you look at the energetic portion of yourself, that portion of yourself can also be contracted to monitor on others. You can also instruct that part of yourself to go off into different places, different spaces, perhaps even different times, like different geological times. I don't know that one, but certainly outside of your physical dwelling, to go into other places and monitor what is happening in those other places. So that is what a monitoring spirit is, okay? Yes, a spiritual spy. And you guys know me. I'm a scientific witch. I consider myself a scientist. So I'm really not terribly concerned with moral judgments. Morals are human constructs, and magic is about something so much bigger than the little blip in the universe that humans make up. So our concepts of good and bad, right and wrong are kind of whatever to me. And I'm certainly not interested in anybody's religious dogma of good and bad, right or wrong. I'm here for the science, right? So when a pendulum swings, when you drop that initial ball onto a pendulum, the amount of force that is generated when you drop that first ball moves through the other balls by the transference of energy principle, reaches the last ball and pushes that last ball out of the way by the exact same amount of force that was generated by the first ball. And then guess what? That ball at the end, at some point, comes back, and energy is then set back in the other direction. So that's all I think about when I think about what I do in this lifetime and what I put out into the world. Because I want love, because I want light, I want compassion, I want kindness, I want understanding, I want forgiveness, I want generosity. Because I want all of those things coming to me, I put them out. And should I need to put out something else, I do so with the understanding that at some point that comes back. And if I'm okay with it, then I move forward with what I need to do. So I pass no judgment whatsoever on the good or bad of either creating or contracting a monitoring spirit. There may be all kinds of different reasons why you may find yourself in a situation where you need to have eyes somewhere where you cannot be. Okay. And there may be reasons of all kinds where someone might need to have eyes on you and not be given physical access to you and need to check in on you for whatever reason in some other way. Okay, so for new folks in the room, I give that disclaimer about how I approach spell work and things of that nature. You're not going to really hear me talk a lot about like good, bad, whatever. I'm not into all that, right? So a monitoring spirit could be created or contracted for a whole bunch of different reasons. The ways in which you know you are experiencing one. What happened to me, and I think is what's becoming clear to me is like a hallmark of this type of occurrence. I've spoken with a few other practitioners like myself who've been, doing witchcraft for many years. In the last couple of months that I was dealing with this, and got to get their feedback on the situation and whether or not they'd experienced things. I talked to some of my teachers, and the general consensus of what I picked up on is there's one thing that seems to be a common occurrence when there is a monitoring spirit, and that is the recurring presence of that spirit in your dreams. And in some instances, the spirit is disguised. In some instances, the spirit is in the form of the person that sent it. But either way, they show up in your dreams repeatedly. But here's the thing, because we can have recurring dreams about all types of stuff, people we see, you might listen to a certain type of music every day, for a week because you love the album, and then you see that person in your dreams. What seems to be common about the monitoring spirits that show up in the dream is that they do not speak. Everyone that I talked to had this similar story, that when they saw that spirit in the dream, whatever form it was in, it would never speak. It was always just there and observing, very presently there. Like, that it's there. You wake up in the morning and you remember, I saw this person in my dream. But they weren't just walking by. They weren't talking to you. They weren't talking to other people. They're just there, literally watching everything that is happening. That, I think, is the most telltale sign. Other signs can include just an overwhelming feeling of being watched, especially if you have that feeling in the same place, but not in others. So like you might get the overwhelming feeling that you are being watched in a certain room of your home or in your home generally, but not feel that when you're alone in other places. So the general feeling of being watched is a sign as well. Moments where that person will come across your mind in your conscious waking state that don't really make a lot of sense. So we kind of all know that, like, oh, if I find a picture of somebody or a letter that they wrote me, or I come across, a song that we used to listen to get to, that would make sense that suddenly now I would think about that person. Something just happened to trigger a thought about that person. But when that happens repeatedly, with no instigation, with no outside influence, with nothing to spark that memory, but repeatedly that person keeps coming up in your mind, that could also be a sign that a monitoring spirit situation is happening. So those are like the three most prominent signs that I can seem to gather from like people's stories about what they've been through. But the dream one is the most telling. So pay attention, not to like freak people out, but if you think that this is happening to you, if you don't think this is happening to you, don't worry about it. But if you think that this is happening to you, do pay attention to your dreams, do record your dreams, and be on the lookout for this particular instance. And know that if that spirit interacts with you in the dream, they speak to you, they're speaking to others, they're like doing stuff or whatever, then that's probably not what is going on. But if in your dreams they continue to pop up and they are just there watching, that is the only thing that they are doing, then I would say you have checked the most important box for there being a monitoring spirit uh, in your life. Okay. Yes. Great point, because the one that was sent to me, I don't think was sent intentionally. Not in that way, not in the consciously intentional way. Protection is incredibly important, and these types of things can be created without a conscious intention. So, someone could actually sit down at an altar and contract a spirit, create a spirit, or reach out to a spirit that they want to work with and say, "Do this for me." But it can happen without that level of conscious intention. And so protection is very, very important. Yes, very much so. Yeah, very good point. I, as a tarot reader, it's very interesting to me and sometimes unsettling when I get clients that are like, "Oh, I found you online, yesterday, and I just decided to book a reading with you." I always discourage them. I'm the worst because I'm always like either sending people away or telling them like not to buy stuff from me. But I always tell clients who come to me because they found me online very recently to consider not doing that. That I'm really glad that they've come to me, and I'm honored that they would do so. But to be very cautious about getting readings from anyone. I have turned down offers to read for me. Like I think people online want to like collaborate. And I've had people be like, "Oh, let's do readings for each other," or like, "I'll gift you a reading." And in every instance, I've declined. And the response is usually like, "Oh, okay," because it seems like such a weird thing. Like, who would turn down a free tarot reading? But I'm not letting you read me. Um, I go to my teachers, I go to my elders, and I have a few readers that I may have met online because the internet does a great job of introducing people. But it was years before I ever sat down at their table for a reading. And I did what I felt was adequate research into who they are and what they're all about, and established like a genuine feeling of trust about them before I let them do that. Because June makes a really excellent point. The way I describe it to people is letting somebody do a tarot reading for you is the same as letting someone read your medical records. Yeah. So, there's a reason why there are laws in place to make it so that you can't just share that information with whoever. And if somebody gets that information, a doctor, a clinic gets that information, they have a legal responsibility to protect that from being shared with other people. So consider your energetic self to be the same as your medical records, and don't let just anybody read them. Take care, take caution, and know that having that type of information about you is really pivotal information that could be used against you, quite frankly. So do be cautious about that. Before I share my story, I will also address the point that I was talking about earlier about what Ahmad said, because June brought it up with the protection. When you are regularly cleansing yourself, regularly shielding yourself, keeping yourself out of certain circumstances, not letting random people read for you, not letting everyone know what you're up to at your altars, not sharing with the world all the spirits that you work with or have relationships with. When you're taking adequate precautions, all of those things combined really are effective. They really are effective. So it's important for you guys to realize that, like, you have less and less to be worried about in the spiritual world. The more you take care of yourself as a practitioner and go from that beginner stage of like doing witchy things to actually becoming a witch. And that is why, that's the motto of my Better Witch Magic Intensive, from baby witch to better witch. That's why that's a part of my purpose, is to help people go from the stage of buying candles, buying crystals, buying herbs, buying books, reading things, watching videos like this, but not knowing how to actually really use these things or do anything for themselves. Constantly having to go to somebody else for readings, somebody else for spell work, somebody else for instructions. That leaves you vulnerable. Okay. You are all on a journey, and I encourage you to take it seriously enough that you move forward every day on that journey. Some of you are very stagnant and stuck in one place where you're the baby witch, you're the dabbler, you're a consumer, you buy stuff, you watch videos, but your own life hasn't really changed. And magic has not become a part of your everyday life. Keep moving the needle forward. Do not be satisfied with being stuck in that beginner stage. There is so much that will open up to you as you progress forward. Will it cost time? Yes. Will it involve taking classes, finding teachers, finding mentors? Yes. Will it involve getting serious about being a part of a community so you are not by yourself and can learn from others that are in the same place as you? Yes. Will it cost money, most likely, to be a part of those things? Yes. I have spent, at this point, thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars. Remember, I started when I was 12. I'm 38 years old, 26 years on this journey. I have spent probably tens of thousands of dollars on myself as a practitioner in order to get where I am now. And the reward of that is that now, 26 years later, I am a teacher. I am able to help others. Every day, I get to see another person learn something, become stronger, become happier, become more successful in their lives. And my magic has allowed me to create a successful and thriving business that touches lives every day. So it is well worth it. And I want you to think about how much money you have spent on candles, crystals, and herbs that are sitting in your apartment collecting dust, or that you ultimately threw away, that you never really used because you didn't know what you were doing. I would rather you spend money that comes back to you than waste money on stuff you don't know what to do with. Okay, so let's make the decision to stop doing that and get serious about our educations and our edification as practitioners, so that we can get to a point where we are really protected in this world against the things that could be thrown at us. Whether they're, practical physical things, or they're, spiritual, energetic type things. Okay. Mm, okay. And I'm glad that you did. And I'm glad that you did. Very glad. It's unfortunate to see that happening. And I bet and you can say if you agree with this, but I bet your own spiritual strength, your own relationships, your own spirits, your own power as a practitioner is what helped you to realize what they were up to quickly enough that you could get out of there. And I bet when you left, there were a bunch of people who unfortunately are probably still there, still being taken advantage of. That's a great question, Takara, if you want to share that. Cleanse, ground, protect. That's my holy trinity of practice, you could say. I think that's great. Exactly. Exactly what I was saying. Exactly what I was saying. Because you are a practitioner, Ahmad, you were able to see the signs, feel the signs, intune the signs, and realize quicker than others who are doing witchy things, perhaps not yet to the point where they are actually witches. You were able to pick up on that quicker than they would. So don't, leave yourself in that. You saw the woman's eyes watching. Yep, you saw them in your dreams. So for those of you who are doing witchy things, welcome. This is the start of the journey. Just don't get complacent being in that space. Okay. Link yourself up with folks who can teach you and move yourself forward in the needle so that you can get to a place where, like Ahmad, you have a real relationship with your higher self, with your guides, with your ancestors, and you get really good at being discerning and trusting your own intuition, being able to divine for yourself and all of those things. Intrusive thoughts during high energy moments. Yeah. Okay. Like when I was talking about things coming up into your thought process when there was nothing to trigger that thought, that's really interesting. If it happens during high energy moments where you're really focused in on one thing and all of a sudden something is able to cut through, that might be something to pay attention to. Right. Feeling drained. Yes, and I don't want to alarm you, Takara. The point that I was making about the dream was if you feel like that is happening to you, if you have someone in your life that might be doing something like that to you, then pay attention to your dreams. Don't go looking for something now because I've had this experience or we're talking about this. Okay. That is just an example of what could be happening and a way to look for that. For example, oftentimes I get this a lot. People ask, I think I'm cursed. I think I'm cursed. I think I'm cursed. And my first question to them is, well, do you know any witches? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no. Okay, well, who's cursing you then? So if you don't have anybody in your life that either consciously or subconsciously might want to monitor your behavior for their own purposes, don't worry about this. Don't worry about this. Okay. But if you do, and you think that that is something that they might be capable of, consciously or unconsciously, then, and you feel like that might be going on, then recurring figures in your dreams would be a sign of that. And if they were happening, you probably already would know. You wouldn't need to say, oh, I'm going to start paying attention to my dream. Instead, you would be sitting here saying, oh, shit, that's been happening. That's what would happen right now. All right. So don't worry. Don't go looking for stuff that aren't there. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes. Don't put it on to yourself. This is for educational purposes. This is something for you to jot down in your book of shadows, make a note of as a possibility in the world of something that can happen at times, so that when it happens, it doesn't take you quite as long as it did me to realize what was going on. Because this was going on for months. And I didn't know what was going on until Spirit sent a wise witch, a member of our coven, an experienced practitioner, my way, and said, "Have you ever heard of this?" And then I said, "Aha, now I understand why that person's been popping up in my dream at least once a week, every week for the last like 5-6 months. Now I get it." Yes. Journaling your dreams is definitely like just a go-to. Anyway, I keep a little notebook by me always. Okay, these are my dream scribbles. Sometimes they happen in the middle of the night. The number 30 is divisible by 5 and 6. Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. That was a dream I woke up from, where for some reason I was in like a game show that felt like Wheel of Fortune or Jeopardy. And the only thing I remembered was that the number 30 is divisible by 5 and 6. I don't know, you know, but yeah, keep a little notepad by your bed for recording all of those things. Super important. But if you are listening to this right now and uh, hearing about recurring figures, watching figures in your dreams is making you go, "Oh shit, that's been happening to me," then you might have that going on. Welcome again to all the YouTube folks. If you want to get into the stream room, see your comments on the screen, get your questions answered, all that good stuff, make sure to join the Coven. The link is down in the description box for how you can become a Coven member. So back to the point that Ahmad made, because I've been a practitioner for a long time, and I feel really confident about my personal spiritual hygiene, the things that I do to keep my vibration really high, the things that I do to remove low vibrational energies from my space, from myself, that I do on a daily basis, the things I do on a weekly basis, the things I do on a monthly basis. Because I have a very active and strong relationship with my guides, with my ancestors, angels, even my demons, I tend to sometimes forget that despite all of that, a concentrated attack, if you will, for lack of a better word, or work being done against me is still possible. I'm not impervious. And I shouldn't walk around thinking that nothing like this could ever happen to me, which is kind of what I was, kind of the headspace that I've been into for a really long time. And I think, especially with more people finding me, whether it's online or seeing me on the news or what have you, because there are more people coming into this, to my space, it's really important that I continue to do all of those things, but that I not underestimate the possibility of somebody getting through all of that and still impacting me in some way, especially if that person is close to me or has, personal knowledge of me or personal ways of being connected to me. Okay. So I really thought that cord cuttings and banishing baths and various things that I was doing was enough, and I was shocked that it wasn't. And it just taught me an important lesson. That it's like, if you have a house and you have a security system, you've got cameras outside, you've got guards, you got all that. It just popped into my head, the scene in Scarface. You guys know the movie Scarface? The ending of Scarface. Tony had a huge mansion, cameras everywhere, security guards around his gates, a high wall fence, like a moat around the house, all of these security measures that under normal circumstances kept him safe. And yet, in the end, when the enemy made a concentrated attack, they knew about the cameras, they knew about the security guards, they knew where his office was located, they had inside information. They were able to get around all of those security measures. And this was an important wake up call for me, that I have all of these security measures in place that under most circumstances are going to keep me perfectly safe. But a calculated, organized attack by someone who has inside information might in fact get through. And I might need to do more. And I need to, most importantly, just know that that's possible. And not assume that because I'm so high vibe, and I'm the biggest boss witch of the Bronx, and I'm like, you witches ain't cleansing like me. You ain't got relationships with your ancestors like me. My ancestors don't play about me. That means that nobody could ever get through. They can. So that's the preliminary information that I wanted to share with you. What is a monitoring spirit? Some signs to look out for if you think that somebody is unconsciously or consciously sending one your way, and sort of a word to the wise about the importance of having your spiritual precautions in place, but also knowing that they're not necessarily impervious just because they are in place. But the more you have, the better. Because it took 26 years for somebody to be able to get through the way they did with me. So the precautions that I had in place have been very effective, very successful, and I'm glad that I've had them. But I just had a little bit of a wake-up call about not being naive into thinking that just because they are in place, that nothing can happen, Okay, talking about the difference between actual spiritual signs or activity happening in your dreams versus your conscious mind kind of replaying the things that you're consuming. I know. I hear ancestors don't play about me the most, but that's probably just because of who I'm tuned into online. My ancestors don't play about me. Okay, that's great. That's great. You should probably also learn a couple banishing spells, though, just in case. That's great, is what I learned. Ooh, confidence and delusion are close friends. Can we get a finger snap for June? Can we get a finger snap? That's a bar. Yes, absolutely. That's a bar. And I take that. And I take that. I was being a little delusional. I really was sort of just like, I'm good. Nobody can ever get me because look at me. Y'all ain't got altars like me. Y'all ain't got relationships. My ancestors talk to me. My spirit guides talk to me. And, I can divine blah, blah, blah. And it's like, yeah, it's all true. Right. And it, generally speaking, keeps me really safe. And the things that afflict non-witches don't bother me. I'm able to keep myself in a really great state of being. I'm really grateful for the work that I've done to be able to get to that point. But I wasn't ready for this. So let's get into the tea. Finger snaps, finger snaps. Yes, finger snaps for June. Yeah, right. It's one of those things where it's like, if you have to say it, it's probably not quite the truth, right? But because my ancestors were helpful, but yeah, they were like, this is your fight, girlfriend. You better do something about it. I was like, oh no, I got to do something about this. They were like, yeah, you should get on that. So the tea. Okay. Here's how it happened, y'all. All right. So finger snaps. Some of you know already that I am going through a divorce. My husband and I have been together since I was 19 years old. I'm going to be 38 this year. So 17, 18 years of my life. We got married when I was 26. He's a little bit older, and he's of Jewish descent. That is relevant to this story. He is someone that when I met him, he was sleeping on a mattress on the floor in an apartment he did not rent, surrounded by bugs and the feces of a dying cat that was not his. It was not a good situation. I was 19, I was young, but I was definitely in a better place than he was. I was bartending and I was making good money for myself, enough money to move out on my own at 19 years old in New York City, rent my own apartment, no roommates needed. I fed this man, I clothed this man, paid hundreds of dollars for him to have, a cell phone, and just did all of the dumb young girl things. And over time, what he did was he siphoned off my energy for himself. We all come here with a light. We all come here with gifts to share with the world. But it is not an accident that I am here and y'all are watching me. And I don't mean that in a condescending way, though it might come across that way. So forgive me if it does. I don't mean to rub anybody wrong. It's just that I know that I came here with a light that is extra bright. I know that I came here to serve a purpose in this world that is meant to touch many people's lives. And people like myself, particularly witches like me, often find themselves, especially when they're young, with people in their lives who are what people might call energy vampires. People who themselves are low vibrational, lost, don't have a direction in life, really don't serve any purpose beyond themselves. Those people latch on to people like me for their very sustenance. Because this man was not just not together financially. His lack of togetherness financially was an outward representation of the poverty of his soul. He was depressed. He was anxious. He had no confidence in himself, did not believe in himself, was not proud of himself, of anything that he'd accomplished to that up until that moment. And I poured into him over our 17 or so years together. Poured into him. Everything that he is today, he is because of me. Everything that he's accomplished and every dime in his bank account is because I spent those 17 years pulling him up from nothingness, energetically and otherwise. I taught him about finance. I taught him about business. I taught him about spirituality. I taught him about meditation. I taught him about magic. Even taught him a trick or two. And I poured into him. And when I told him that I was divorcing him, everything crumbled for him. And he realized that he was losing his source of life, basically. When I am not in his life, he drinks more heavily. He doubts himself. He'll stop working out. He just really has a hard time staying at a certain vibration without me there to keep him there. And at a certain point, I just realized that I did not want that job anymore, that I wanted to be with someone who could pour as much into me as I poured into them, or I would rather be alone, quite frankly, and just keep my energy reserves for my witches and for my purpose and for HQ. But I wasn't able to pour into you guys, pour into HQ, pour into myself as much as I wanted because I was busy doing that for him. And it was just exhausting and I didn't want to do it anymore. So in 2020, I told him I wanted a divorce. He asked me to reconsider and go to therapy and give him the chance to, like, you know, change his ways, redeem himself, whatever. And it wasn't about his behavior. It took me a little while to realize that, but it wasn't about his behavior that was the problem. It was him that was the problem. He's just an energy draining individual. He doesn't have a source of light of his own. So he needs to get it from somebody else. And when I realized that, I stopped the therapy and I said, look, I want a divorce. I appreciate the changes that you have made in how you do things. I think ultimately they will benefit you more than anything else. I'm happy that you are a better communicator. I am happy that you now know what gaslighting is and that you do it. I'm happy that you now know that you are emotionally manipulative and perhaps you will stop doing that to people that you claim to care about. So I am really glad that we went to therapy together. I also learned a lot about me because our therapy was set up where we had sessions together, but then also sessions apart. And I am so, so grateful. Shout out to Lane. Woo! Shout out to Lane. Because I didn't really think that I needed therapy, but I did. I really did. She helped me see some incredible things about myself, helped give me tools for communicating, helped me to understand how I got into this type of a relationship in the first place, helped me to see what was happening and what was being taken from me. Not a spiritual lady at all, but she got it. Even as a non-spiritualist, she was like, he is draining you. And I was like, yes, Lane, you're right. So I'm really very, very grateful for those years of therapy as a result of this whole divorce thing. But after a while, I realized that therapy was not going to change like what he is at his core. So I needed to get out of that situation. He was very upset. And we spent a year trying to like separate. And remember how I told you every dime in his bank account is because of me and that I taught him finance and business? With my encouragement and my motivation, he started a real estate photography business for himself that is now doing 6 figures just 2 years into inception. By the way, guys, take my spiritual business classes because creating 6 figures businesses is what I do. Okay? Case in point, I should get a testimonial from him. Yeah, I basically motivated him to like really do that. And despite making 6 figures, now New York City is expensive, but come on now. He kept claiming that he could not afford to move out. And for a year, he kept up this story that despite making 6 figures, he could not afford to move out. he just didn't want to go. He did not want to go. He did not want to go try to start a life without me, his uplifter, his energy source. And after a while, I just said, look, you have to go. You have to go. The amount of cord cutting that I had to do was immense. Regular cord cutting rituals, regular black walnut baths, because I'm living with this person. And so for those of you who are doing cord cutting work in your own lives, something that I learned from my own experiences is if you are in close proximity with the person or thing that you're cutting yourself off from, if you work with them every day or they live with you, you have to see them on a regular basis because they're related to so-and-so or what have you. Please know one cord cutting is not going to be enough. You will have to do it frequently. I imagine it as something kind of like spider webs. You know how spider webs, if you walk through like in between two trees and there's a spider, it's so hard to get them off of you. And it seems like as soon as you pull one off, like, oh, there it is again. It's like that. Energetic ties to people will reconnect when you are in proximity to them. So regular cord cuttings have to be done. Because I would do a cord cutting, I would take a black walnut bath, and I would feel so liberated and free. And I'd be like, whoo, oh my God, yes. I have no doubts that I'm doing the right thing. This man is not in my head. Get away from me. This is great, fantastic. And then a couple of weeks would pass and the mental fog would set back in and the doubt would set back in and the fear of being on my own would start to set back in. And this clingingness to him would start to set back in and I have to do it again. Do it again. Do it again. One night, while he was away, I did a cord cutting that was around the time of him agreeing to move out. Basically, I needed him to agree to move out. I was done with dealing with having him here. So I was like, okay, you're not moving fast enough. I'm gonna have to cast on this. I need you to go now. So the spell that I did to get him to move out was kind of multi-tiered, as my spells often are. And one component of the spell was the cord cutting. I'm laying in bed right here where I am right now. And I often do my spell work on my working altar, which is right over there. And I do it at night usually. And I will kind of nurse my candles all night long. Like I'll let myself fall asleep, but I'll kind of just watch them and I'll get messages. The spirit will talk to me and I'll watch how the candles are moving and how they're behaving and I'll interpret them and I'll divine on what's going on at the moment. And maybe I'll pull some cards or, whatever, but I'm up with my spell throughout the night. And so I do this cord cutting and I'm laying in bed and I don't know if I was asleep or if I was awake, but clear as day, I felt this man's fingers dig into my shoulders and hold me down in the bed. And I was like, God damn, you are not trying to let me go. Tough titties. Tough titties. You are out of here. I jumped up. I got back to my altar, repeating more prayers, making sure those cords burned away. Like, you're getting out of here, buddy. So sure enough, 2 days later, he comes to me and says, I'm moving out. And me, oh, what? The fake surprise. You don't say. Oh my, you've had a change of heart? He's like, yeah, I just, obviously I'm not going to change your mind. Obviously you think this is the right thing to do. And, I'm going to get out of your way. You obviously want to start your life without me, blah, 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 blah. Saying all these things to try to make me feel bad, And I'm just like, yeah, I guess so. See you later. Sayonara. Let me help you pack. So within the week, he's got a new place. And within the month, he's moving out. This is December-ish of last year. And And I thought I was done. I thought I was good. You know what I mean? I was like, okay, no problem. Ooh, I like the words spiritual parasites, takers. I believe that too. I believe that too, Takara, because that actually came up in a reading. I sit with my ancestors every Monday morning. And I usually pull playing cards to speak directly to my grandma. And that kept coming up, but I didn't know what she was talking about learning something. And I thought she was talking about with the business. And I was like, I am learning. I got a coach. I am learning. I am learning. And then now I understood. Thank you, Takara. I did. Very much the case. Oh, yes, the gaslighting. Oh, yes. It is not. It is not. 19-year-old me thought it was because I was like, oh my gosh, he needs me. Oh, like, he needs me. And he's older. He's 8 years older. So there was definitely this like my own inferiority complex was raging at that time of my life. 19. Here's this 26-year-old man that like wants to be with me, little old me, like, oh my goodness, like I see so much potential in him. Let me show him how I can support him in his journey, right? Not realizing that he was alone for a reason. But yeah, so where are we in the story? December. He moves out. Like end of last year, he moves out. And about a month in, no, before that, after he moves out, I have this feeling of him being here, like a lingering energy. And it was hard to describe. It was more than just like, oh, some of his stuff is here, blah, blah, blah. Even after he had cleared out all of his stuff and had like fully settled into his place, I had this weird, uncomfortable feeling, like as if he was still here and like as if he was watching everything that I was doing. And I felt like I was being watched basically by him. And I'm telling myself, that's ridiculous. Obviously, that's not happening. That's in your head. You're just getting used to him not being here. And it's going to take some time for you to, get used to that. And then fast forward, the feeling doesn't really go away. So it's kind of persisting. And I started to get this weird feeling that my cat was in on it, which is going to sound crazy to those of you who've never experienced this. But I felt like my cat was watching me. She was not acting like herself. And she would do we would have these really weird moments where I would get ready to do something that was for me. I would get on the phone with my bestie that you guys know about. I would go to record something for my OnlyFans. I would go live. You guys have seen her a couple of times. These are things she normally would not do. She's a very like to herself type of a cat. You have to like call her to come cuddle with you. And she would pop up at these times when I needed privacy or I wanted to be by myself. And she would just pop up and just be like observing. And it felt really weird. So first I had the feeling of him like watching me in the apartment. Then I had the feeling of our cat, which we have joint custody of. So ridiculous, but we have joint custody of her. So she goes to his place for 1 month and my place for 1 month because we both love her too much, even though she's my cat. Says the paperwork. So whatever. We share her. So whenever she was with me, she'd be doing these like weird things where she was like all up in my business. And I'm like, okay, again, might just be in my head, right? One night, I fall asleep on the couch, and clear as day, you guys, I hear his voice from the bedroom go, "Hey, babe, you coming to bed?" The way I woke the fuck up and was like, came back here to look around and was like, oh my God, I'm fucking cracking up. I just heard him. I wasn't really asleep. I was half asleep. I was falling asleep. And clear as day, "Hey, babe, you coming to bed?" I was like, what is going on? That's when the dream started. After that, every week, at least once a week, he would be in my dreams. And the more like fun or like not related to him the dream was, the more likely he would be there. And he would just be there. And I would wake up knowing that he was there. And he would just be there, not saying anything, not doing anything, not playing a role in the dream, just watching. And it was so fucking creepy and weird. And I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, am I having second thoughts? Am I thinking about him because like I think I've made a mistake, like that I want to be with him? Why is he in my fucking dreams after all this time? Like it's been, now we're talking about the spring of this year. He's been gone for like 4 or 5 months. In this time, we have had to meet up occasionally to do like paperwork, divorce paperwork. So he's come by to fill out the papers, and then we had to go to the court and blah, blah, blah. So I've seen him, and I'm like, is it that? Is it because I'm seeing him and because we're doing the paperwork and maybe I'm having second thoughts and the paperwork's happening? But no, I know I'm not having second thoughts. I'm so happy without him. I'm so fucking happy in this house by myself. I'm so happy that I'm moving on. I can't wait till this divorce is finalized. There's no fucking way that's what it is. What is going on? And of course, it doesn't occur to me to divine on this because I'm not thinking that this could be a spiritual attack of any kind. Because who the fuck attacks me? Not me. Not me. Not my ancestors don't play about me, Allie. Like, and not by him. Of all people, are you kidding me? Everything he knows how to do, magical or spiritual, I taught him. Okay? So ain't no way he's doing something to me. So I didn't even divine on it because I was so sure of myself that like I am so protected from any such type of attack. So I'm in the shop one day and I had not seen Missy for a long time. Shout out to Missy. She's a Coven member. Missy Morales. You might see her in the Coven feed from time to time. She also happens to be a spiritual business client of mine. We are growing her revamped, not new, her revamped business, Selenite Star Healing, together. And she is also a practitioner and a practitioner for a very long time. And she has also just gotten out of a relationship similarly with a similar type of individual. And she walks into the shop for the first time in forever. And she'd been trying to get to the shop, but she said it was like something was stopping her. She'd been trying to get to the shop, trying to reconnect, trying to work with me. And every time she would, something weird would happen and would stop her. And finally, one day she was just like, I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm getting over there. And a bunch of weird shit happened on her way to the shop. But she was like, I'm not turning around. I'm going. I have a message for Allie. I have to go. So she makes it to the shop and she's like, girl, I cannot tell you what has been happening in my life to stop me from getting here. I don't know what is going on with you, but I have a message for you. I had to come and deliver to you in person. Do you know what monitoring spirits are? You're being monitored. Yeah. I don't know if I was holding anything at the moment, but if I did, I would have dropped it. I was just like, please have a seat. Please have a seat. Tell me more. We need to talk. Spirit made sure she came to me with this message. She sat down and she was just like, I've been learning about monitoring spirits. You've been on my mind heavy for the last couple of months. I've been trying to get over here. For some reason, I feel like I have to tell you about this. You need to know about this. Are you dealing with this? What's going on? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fucking dealing with this. I didn't know that's what they were called. It didn't occur to me to look into this because I was so sure that this was all in my head and nothing could be happening. And she was like, no, that man is watching you. He's watching you. So she's like, I don't know how it works either. I'm just learning about this too. But I felt like you needed to know, we needed to learn it together. So we have a long talk that day. We talk for like 2-3 hours. We talk about the things we're going through. She shares with me what she knows. And it was like the moment that she did, my spirits were like, yes, bitch, we've been trying to tell you. Because all of a sudden, all this information starts coming in from left and right, random things. My teacher, my hoodoo teacher, Brother Moses, all of a sudden, then like 2 days later, posts on his page monitoring spirits and Bible passages about it and what it is and all this stuff. And I'm like, what? I've never seen you mention anything about this. Like a whole post with like multiple pictures, multiple slides and information all about monitoring spirits. So all of this information starts flowing into me. And I'm like, oh shit, okay. I got, now my dumbass picks up my cards. And I'm like, what's going on? And they're like, yes. And at the beginning of the story, I mentioned that he is of Jewish descent. And the reason why that is relevant is because there is something about Jewish men in particular. They are incredibly magical people, the Hebrew people. Kabbalah is a mystical framework. The Jewish religion, as we know it, is something else, a man-made creation, whatever. The mysticism behind it is Kabbalah. They're very magical people, and the men in particular are very good casters. Now, I should have freaking known that this could happen because when I read Antonio Pagliarulo's book, The Evil Eye, he talks about this. He talks about the Jewish male susceptibility to working magic. And it was that chapter in the book that made me realize that my husband was inadvertently throwing the evil eye on me while we were working, while we were living together, and was impacting the success of my business because he's always been a competitive man with me. He never wanted to see me do well outside of him. He never wanted to pour into me and say, go do your thing. And like, here, I'm going to support you. Like, do it. Like, yes, be great. He never did that. He would say those words, but he never genuinely wanted to see me thrive without him thriving as well. He was always really insecure and self-conscious. And anything great that I did, he kind of took as a slight against him. And so as he's building his business, he did not really want to see me do well in mine. So he was unconsciously throwing the evil eye on me. And I knew that. And I used a couple of the recommended spells in Antonio's book. I kind of put them together, made my own thing. And almost immediately after that had like a whole bunch of like really great things happen at HQ, like all of these successes that happened like one right after the other. So I knew that he was capable of doing work against me unconsciously. And yet I still just was not really expecting this. I don't know. I guess I thought since he didn't live with me, I was fine. I don't know. But anyway, here I am now getting all this information about monitoring spirits. And I'm like, oh my God, okay, all right. That is absolutely what is happening. And I need to do something about it immediately. What do I do about it? So I'm going to tell you what I did about it. Yeah, shout out to Missy. Right? Definitely harassment. Right? Yes, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for this community because you never know when another witch is going to help you out. Cynthia, you still up? Witches helping witches, big time, big time. Ooh, he might. Maybe. I don't know. But so he didn't really know nobody. But so I'm scrolling on Instagram, trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. No, I figured out what I was gonna do. Yes, okay. I'm trying to figure out the exact order of how this information came to me. So my hoodoo teacher, Brother Moses, posts about monitoring spirits, and in it, he gave a Bible verse, a psalm, and I quoted this psalm when I posted about the P Diddy Cassie situation as a prayer for those who had been afflicted by abusers. But the psalm can be used for many different types of enemies or what have you. I highlighted the entire psalm. Psalm 35. It's David's appeal to God for justice. For those of you who are not comfortable with Bible passages in your workings, though I would say get over it, let go of the religion, to heck with the religion. The text is a sacred text, and it is one of the most effective grimoires you will ever use. So I get it. Christianity sucks. The church blows. And they have probably made you feel like shit your entire life. Let that go. Use their magic anyway. Okay? Because the Bible's the best collection of spell work you could ever want to have. But if it really bothers you, because I called on divine feminine energies, there is a very simple prayer to Hecate that you can find in a lot of different places. I've seen this in various different books or things about Hecate, but I send all of my Better Witch Magic Intensive students, all of my Better Witches, a copy of the Book of Pagan Prayer. And on page 240, you will find a prayer to Hecate for defeating one's enemies, or for a prayer of destruction to destroy something. Keeper of ravenous dogs, bitch goddess, howler, bearer of torch and knife, ruler of the dark moon, Hecate, I pray to you, turn your slaying glance from me and direct it towards my enemies. And if you can't turn it away, may it be because there is something in me that must die. Act with wisdom and discernment, destroying only what must go and giving me strength to endure the burning. So I love that prayer. I've used it several times myself when asking her to help me with different things. And Psalm 35, I really love because there are a couple of lines in particular that felt really appropriate for this situation. Plead my cause, O Lord, with them that strive with me. Fight against them that fight against me. Take hold of shield and buckler and stand up for mine help. Draw out also the spear and stop the way against them that persecute me. Say unto my soul, I am thy salvation. Let them be confounded and put to shame that seek after my soul. Let them be burned, turned back, and brought to confusion that devise my hurt. Let them be as chaff before the wind, that's grain, and let the angel of the Lord chase them. Let their way be dark and slippery. Let the angel of the Lord persecute them. For without cause have they hid hid for me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself. Into that very destruction let him fall. And my soul shall be joyful in the Lord. It shall rejoice in his salvation. So this is basically saying, please see that I am being attacked and turn all of my enemies' weapons and all of the traps that they have set for me against them. And this is going to be relevant to how this plays out. And there are a couple other parts in here that I really like. Yea, they opened their mouth. This is verse 21. Yea, they opened their mouth wide against me and said, Aha, aha, aha. And our eye hath seen it. This thou hast seen, O Lord. Keep not silence. O Lord, be not far from me. Stir up thyself and awake to my judgment, even unto my cause, my God and my Lord. So basically saying, God, you see that they are laughing at me. They are literally laughing at me. Like, you can't let that go down. This is some BS. Okay? Let them be ashamed and brought to confusion together that rejoice at mine hurt. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor that magnify themselves against me. Okay. So that was the prayer that Brother Moses posted about. That was the particular psalm for monitoring spirits. And I was like, okay. So it was starting to come to me. When I'm getting ready to do spell work, because I don't take spells like directly as they are from other people's writings, I'll take like inspiration. The spell itself will like come to me over days, weeks. Items will come to me, various things will come to me, blase, blah, 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 blah. So now I have a psalm to work with. I know that I have a monitoring spirit that I need to get up off of me. How am I doing this? One day I remember that on one of his visits to return the cat, he gave me a t-shirt. Annoying. He's like, oh, do you want this t-shirt? I bought it and it's a little bit small or something like that. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, thanks. And it's like a Martha's Vineyard t-shirt, which is where his part of his family lives, where he proposed, where we got married, where we vacationed every summer. So like we have this deep history with Martha's Vineyard. So he gives me this Martha's Vineyard t-shirt and I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm not wearing that shit. I should have thrown it out, but I didn't. But I'm glad that I didn't. But I was like, okay, thanks. And I just like put it in the bottom of a drawer. I was like, I'm not wearing this shit. I'm not putting your energy all over me. I'm trying to get rid of you. So I remember about the shirt. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to make a poppet. Got it. So I cut up the shirt and I stitch up a poppet. And that's the thumbnail for this live. That's what you see on the altar. That little doll is a poppet that I made. And I'm like, okay, I need to put personal effects in it. But I don't know what. And because I'm like, I think I've pretty much gotten rid of everything that is his. And in a dream that I had on one of those nights, Spirit came to me and said something about you need his birthday, or they said his birthday. And I was like, okay, his birthday. All right, interesting. So come spell day, and I still don't really know what I'm doing. I know I'm reading a psalm. I know I'm making a poppet with this shirt of his that I have. Beyond that, I'm not really sure. Oh, I got to flip it and reverse it candle from the shop. I know I'm lighting this return to sender candle. Other than that, I don't really know what else I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, do I have a picture of him somewhere? And I was like, wait, I think I put away this picture that we used to have on the bookshelf in my closet because I didn't want it looking at me anymore. So I put it away. I go to take it out of my closet and sure enough, it's there. I'm like, oh yeah, I do have it. Great. I take the picture out of the frame and the picture is like a Polaroid type style picture. And printed on it is his birth date. Because the picture was taken at a birthday dinner at a restaurant. And he had developed the pictures at like a CVS or something. And the date was printed on the picture. I was like, son of a bitch. So I cut out his face and birth date. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's going in the poppet. I'm like, do I have anything else though? Now listen, I'm a witch. So I do things like this. Don't be weirded out. This is the type of shit we do. If you don't like it, it's not the space for you. Over the years, I've collected various personal effects of his because just in case. I have whiskers from my cat. I have clippings of nails. I got shit, right? So I had nail clippings of his and beard hairs he left in the sink and various things. And I had used all of those things, or so I thought, in the cord cuttings, in the various spells and different things that I had done while we were still living together. So I thought I didn't have anything left. But something told me, go check your cabinet. Just go check. And sure enough, I go in there and I'm like, shit, I forgot. The very last time we slept together, I had the wherewithal to take a Kleenex and collect what I needed to collect and put it in a Ziploc bag and tuck it in the back of my cabinet, and I'd forgotten about it. So I pull that out, and that goes in the poppet. Praise God. Couple chosen herbs, some slippery elm, various other things, some pins, some different things, some cotton. I bind that all up and I sew up the doll. And I still don't really know what I'm doing for the spell. At this point, I've just made the doll. And I go to check my phone because I was like, you know what, let me put some music on. This feels real hoodoo, and I'm using a Bible verse. So let me put some hoodoo music on. And there is a young lady, I think it's a young lady, on Instagram that actually they're on YouTube, but they post on Instagram. They are making like AI music, which is a new thing. I don't know, whatever, but they're making like AI hoodoo music. It's kind of cool. So it's this music that's like AI generated that sounds like old blues, like, you know, old like spiritual type music or whatever. Why did she just post a song about monitoring spirits? I'm like, oh, now everybody wants to talk about monitoring spirits now. All of a sudden, everybody else knew. I was the only one that didn't know. But I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I go to listen to the song. And, oh, I should play it. Hopefully I don't get flagged for it. Let me see. Let me see if I saved it. The song is about monitoring spirits. And in the song, it gives me the spell. The song basically says, I take my mirror and I set my black candle on top. And I let those spirits be cast away while I sit in the dark and monitor them back. Look at this. Can y'all see that? Is it blurry? Monitoring spirits, Hoodoo Blues. This is literally what pops up on my phone. I go to pick up my phone and be like, let me play some hoodoo music. And her Instagram post is the first freaking thing I see. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I play the song. In my little house by the sycamore tree, flies gather round, but it ain't just me. It's spirits that watch, spirits that roam, found their way into a humble home. Spirits that are watching, spirits that are roaming. So I take my mirror and my candle black, sit in the dark and look back. Psalm 35, verse 6 I recite. Bind those spirits by the candle. The flame flickers low, the shadows dance, in the quiet whispers, I take my chance. So I take my mirror and my candle black, sit in the dark, ain't looking back. Psalm 35, verse 6, I recite, blind those spirits by the When the candle dies, the spell is cast. Cover the mirror, the die is cast. Away it goes. Far from my home, far from my world. Voodoo hands and a whispered verse. I turn their watching into a curse. So I take my mirror and I take my news. Challenge sit back the batch my food. I rise in the starless sky. I've done my work. Mrs. Mouse shine. In the North Span Spring, a Mississippi mill. By the candle fill. What? What?
Here's how I would flip 1,000.
Like, what? The whole spell right there in the song. I was like, and I mean, this is like, I'm literally sitting here making the puppet. I still did not know what I was going to do. And then this pops up. Okay. Song is the whole vibe. It's called Hoodoo. Look up Hoodoo Blues Monitoring Spirits. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I had a mirror that I had drawn with black eyeliner, the sigil for Lilith, the sigil that where is it? This sigil right here kind of looks like an H. I had drawn it on this mirror that had fallen out of its frame. And I had it by my bed for a while, and I didn't really know why, but I didn't want to get rid of it. So here I am sitting right here, listening to this song, and here's a mirror sitting in front of me. And of course, I have black candles, chime candles of every color. So I pull out a chime candle, I inscribe his name on it, I cover it with some herbs, sit it on the altar, put it on top of that mirror, and I follow the freaking instructions. I pray Psalm 35. They said verse 6, but the whole chapter really spoke to me. So I sit there and I'm repeating it over and over and over again. And just like it said in the song, and this is like an AI song, by the way. Just like it said in the song, I sat and I watched that whole candle burn down until it was done. And then the next day, I took the mirror, covered it up in the rest of the fabric of the shirt, took it out to my crossroads where there's a trash can, threw it out, and left the 7-day candle burning for the next few days until it burnt out. So that's the spell, right? Very simple spell. Spell albums exist. Check out this person's page. It's like all hoodoo music for like different things and stuff like that. I don't know that spell albums exist, but like maybe we should make one. So I'm going to share my screen because I can show you guys the spell. Wait, let me see. Share screen. Let me try to, I was updating my OnlyFans today. So let me make sure I show you the part I'm supposed to show you. Okay. All right. So here is the video. Can y'all see that? Of me working on it. And I posted this on the gram, so that's why it's sped up. But so this is me cutting up the, oh yes, I will definitely, Takara said, put that album in the Coven spell page. I will definitely link it's not an album, it's a YouTube channel. But I will link the YouTube channel and link that song in the Coven spell page for sure. Yes, I will. Okay, but so this is me working on the poppet. And this is me reciting, then lighting the black candle, as you can see in the middle of the screen. So I have the flip it and reverse it candle over on your left, my right. And then in the middle is the black candle on top of the mirror. And at the point that I was making the poppet, I still did not know about the mirror and the candle part. That part I did not know about. I'm making the puppet and I'm just talking to spirit at this point. I'm saying, this is you. This is you. I'm saying my husband's name. That was me praying over the picture of his face, then putting the tissue inside and all the other things that I had inside, finishing it up. And then at one point I walk away and it's sped up so you can't really see it, but I walk away to like pick a song to listen to, and that's when that song came on. So that's when I grabbed the mirror and the black chime candle. So then I sat and I let the candle burn. So let me switch my screen to that. So then I just sat and watched it, like it said. And it was crazy because it was bright sunshine out when I started, and it got dark really quick. But in the song, it says I sat in the dark and watched that candle burn out. And like all of a sudden, it just got dark. And so here I am sitting in the dark, and I let the candle burn out. And then I just shot this quick little clip once the candle was done. And then I took a picture, which is this, that I used for the thumbnail for this video. And that little bit of white powder on the side is sulfur. And you can see the Lilith sigil was still on the mirror. And then the candle burnt down. And what was interesting is the poppet was in front of the candle, but you see its hand. However I had it laid, I wasn't paying much attention to it, but however I had it laid, the candle melted around the hand of the poppet and stuck it onto the mirror, and I couldn't pull it off. So I stopped trying and was like, okay, I think it's supposed to be there for a reason. And then over the poppet's face is a walnut, dried walnut. I actually meant to put it inside of the poppet, but I forgot. And so I just kind of stuck it on top after the fact. But walnuts, we use the principle of correspondence in spell work. So things that look like other things can be used to manipulate those other things. So the walnut looks like a brain. So we will use walnuts a lot to do mind work on people, or actual brains, chicken brains, small animal brains, or whatever. I didn't have any of that at the moment. So I used a dried walnut that I have stashed. I have a bowl, like a Tupperware of diatomaceous earth, which dries things out. And I have various like animal parts and things in there that are representative of different parts of ourselves. So I have like some chicken hearts in there. I have some chicken feet. That's good for hot foot work, or, trying to get people to move to different places or whatever. But I also have some other non-animal parts that just relate to parts of the body. And I happen to have a couple of walnut halves for mental work. So got me one of my walnut halves and sprinkled some sulfur on top of that. And yeah, that was the working. Next day, took it, threw it out. Now we have the looking for the signs of the spell working? What are the signs of the spell working? Keep sulfur on hand. Yes. Very effective for a lot of different things. For some people use sulfur to banish spirits. Some people use sulfur to call in certain types of spirits. Because I consider myself a well-rounded witch and I work with all of the energies that are attached to me, including my demons, the sulfur is very helpful when working with them. And as you can see from the sigil on the mirror, I was asking Lilith to assist me with this particular work. And the use of the Bible passage is a key choice when working with demons. They do it in an almost like they respond to it in an almost ironic way. Anyway, so yeah, the sulfur was for her in a lot of ways, calling her in. So anywho, sulfur, stinky, but very effective. And I also use it as an ingredient in a banishing oil that I make for myself, along with garlic and some other ingredients. And that was the oil that I used on the black candle and that I put a few drops of in the poppet. So. Yeah, I like reading into all the stuff. All of it, is all very interesting. I was like, oh, that's interesting. His left hand, the hand where our rings would be, stuck onto this mirror. Couldn't get it off, because when things like that happen that you're not expecting in a spell, you sometimes think, oh, it's a mistake, like, oh no. So I saw it and I was like, oh no, the damn dog got stuck to the thing. And so I went to lift it off. And I mean, this is chime candle wax. This isn't, glue or anything like that. Like, it probably should have just come off, but it wouldn't. And after like 2 pulls, I was like, stop. It's not supposed to come off. So I left it. I just folded it over the mirror, tied it up with the rest of the t-shirt, and took it out. Okay. And a reminder to everyone on YouTube, if you want to see your comments on the screen and get your questions answered in this Q&A, then you have to be a part of the Coven. Okay, it is a Coven exclusive live that you guys are being able to tune into at the present moment. I'd love to take your questions, but this is a treat for my Coven witches. If you want to join the Coven, the link is down in the description box, and we're happy to have you. You get a 7-day free trial when you join, and it's just $9.99 after that. We have a book club, a support group for witches of color. Guest instructors come through and teach classes. We have 2 coming up in July. So lots of amazing things in the Coven. Definitely worth being a part of it. Yes, I would agree with that statement. And it's really, say my first spell, right? But even I am like, oh shit, man, this got stuck. And then I was like, oh, because my idea was I was going to do something. And then I realized, oh no, stop. This is how it's supposed to be. So how do I know that it works? What are the signs? So the first thing was the frequency of the dreams where my husband was appearing was getting worse. And there was a particular type of dream where he would always be. And some of you guys know that I have a best friend, a soulmate, that I've known since I was a teenager. And the cards have never aligned for us to be in a relationship with each other. And we've had our own relationships, my marriage, he's had, children with people. And we have been, I would say, very good about not crossing any serious lines, especially later in life. As our respective relationships got more intense. But I think we've always known that the love that we have for each other is different and special. And I don't know. I think we've always known that if timing worked out, if everything aligned, then we would be in a relationship with each other. So From time to time, I will have dreams about him. And those dreams I always welcome. And sometimes I even ask to have them and try to induce them, because I can do things with him in dream state that I couldn't do in the waking world, if you catch my drift. So I would ask to have those kinds of dreams, and I would have those little fantasy moments. And anytime I would have a dream where he was in it, so was my husband, watching, just being around, making things uncomfortable, making me not able to really enjoy what's happening or what have you, interfering without saying or doing much of anything, just being there, but being a presence that I'm like, I can't do this, you know? And that night, after I threw out the remains, I had a dream about my best friend. And in it, we were in bed together, holding each other. And my husband was nowhere to be found, seen, sensed. He was nowhere. I just got to enjoy this really beautiful moment with my bestie. And I woke up and was like, yes. So you would think all is well and everything is done. Not so much. Dun, dun, dun. Plot twist. Because remember when I told you that I did that cord cutting and I could feel his fingers gripping into my shoulders and holding me down in bed? This man is strong. And his desire to stay attached to me is very strong. We are getting a whole divorce, and he still, on an almost daily basis, sends me like funny cat reels and stuff like that. Because he just is like not trying to let me go. So all is well for about 3 days. And then all of a sudden, I get a text message from his mother, who I don't have communication with normally, especially since all of this has happened. And she's like, oh, I was just thinking about you today. I saw this cat in a window, tuxedo cat that looks just like mine. I saw this cat in a window. And I just thought about you, and I just wanted to say hey. And I was like, weird. Okay. So I wrote back, oh, I think about you sometimes too. That, much love. Thanks for thinking of me, whatever. Then the next night, this was when I posted the P. Diddy Cassie thing. I had some guy come in the comments basically trying to defend P. Diddy, some piece of crap dude. And I was annoyed by his comment. So I had a little back and forth with him, and I was going to post the back and forth on a reel and call him out. But he was smart. He deleted his comments and blocked me. Like, son of a bitch. I missed my chance. So he blocked me and deleted his comments. So I went to my stories and I just said, there are two types of straight men out there. There are monsters, and then there are the ones who defend them or look the other way and allow them to get away with what they do. Like, I was just really pissed. I don't know if I really truly believe that there are really only these two types of straight men, but that's just how I felt in seeing the responses from straight men about the video. Not enough people simply saying this is wrong, period. Way too many straight men trying to come up with explanations, and it just disgusted me and it really pissed me off. And I just had to make a statement about it. And I was like, I'm going to bed. I just wanted to say that. The next morning I wake up and I check my stories because I wanted to see if the guy who blocked me saw the post. And my stepdad-in-law, my husband's stepdad, is in the story, like in the list of people who have viewed the stories. Not in the list of people who viewed the ones before or after, just that one story he happened to watch. I don't usually check my stories to see who watched them. I'm not that much of a fanatic over my own content. I only checked this story because I wanted to see if this guy that inspired the story happened to still be lurking and saw it. And I noticed my stepdad. And I'm like, what the fuck? First your mom, now your stepdad. What is going on? Then that night, I have a dream. In the dream, I'm with my bestie. He's driving a car, and I'm in the back seat, holding his hand from the back seat. But the reason why I'm in the back seat is because somebody is sitting in the passenger seat. My bestie, I know who he is, but he's disguised. And he's disguised as this rapper named Young Bird. Do you guys remember that song with Ray J? Sexy, can I just pardon my manners? Girl, how you shake it, got it like it's a Kodak moment. Let me go and get my camera. All I want to know is sexy, can I? Fucking love that song. Loved that song when it came out. Hooked on that song. That was the last time I thought about Young Berg. I think that was the last time anybody ever heard of Young Berg, right? So, what? My bestie is disguised as Young Berg. That's weird, but I know who it is. I know it's him, but I also can see that he's disguised as somebody else. That's weird. Also, it's weird I'm in the back seat, but I'm in the back seat because somebody's in the passenger seat. Who's in the passenger seat? My husband's best friend from high school. I've been to this guy's wedding. He was the best man, like what do you call it? One of the groomsmen in ours. I don't know him personally, really, but I've spent quite a bit of time with him over the years. And he is saying nothing. And he's just watching us. And at one point, me and my bestie kiss, and he just goes, like he was shocked and taken aback. Why would somebody in my dream be shocked and taken aback by something I'm doing that I would be doing, that I do all the time in my dreams? In my dream, I turn to him and I lock eyes and I go, I know who you really are. I see you. And he goes away. And that was the end of the dream. And that was the last I've had any issues. My dreams have been free and clear. I've had no feelings of monitoring. I told my husband to keep the cat for an extra month because I didn't want her coming back over here with no boogly boogly energy. We'll see how I feel at the end of this month if I want her back over here. No problems after that. But the freaking spirit literally tried to jump to other people after I banished it, tried to jump to other people and disguise itself as other people and stay attached to me. And it was when I confronted it and said, I know who you are, that I finally completed everything. So the spell worked and getting it up off of like my husband and like out of that frame, but it definitely tried to freaking stay. It tried to jump form and stay attached to me. And I was like, I see you, motherfucker. Nice try. I talked to my bestie on the phone the next day and I'm telling him the story. And I'm like, yeah, for some reason you were Young Berg. And he goes, oh, that's weird. I was born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We call it the Berg. I was like, you know the song I'm talking about, right? He was like, yeah, I know. Of course, I love that song. I love that song. It sounds dope. It all made sense. Wow. This thing was not trying to go away. Listen, Ray J's not here to sing. Ray J is here to entertain. And that he does very well. I give it up to Ray J. There are certain people, Ray J, Lil Nas, there are certain people who know how to troll the trolls and know how to use celebrity and internet, like whatever, to their benefit. Anytime I'm about to forget that Ray J exists, oh, there he goes. There he goes. Anytime the world is about to forget that Ray J exists, he does something ridiculous to make sure that we never forget. He knows what he's doing. Right? So creepy. I know. I know. And very glad that I did. Whisper singer. Like the mumble rappers. They have their place, you know. But yeah, that is the whole story. And that last situation was like at a month ago, right before the start of June. Because that's when I was like, hey, can you keep Kitty for another month for me, please? I need to be 100% sure that I have eliminated this influence from my life before I let her back up in here. So that's the tea, y'all. That is my monitoring spirit experience. That is what I learned. That is the spell work that I did to get rid of it, and how I know that the spell work was effective. And yeah, quite an experience. Definitely let it go on for longer than I needed to, because I just wasn't in the headspace of somebody could be doing this like intentionally, even if it's subconscious. You know, I don't think that my husband is sitting in his apartment being like, I'm gonna craft a monitor. I don't think he's doing that. It's completely subconscious, but subconsciously he is unable to accept that he does not live here anymore. He's never coming back here. He's never coming back to my life. And what I do is no longer any of his business, if it ever was. He's having a really hard time accepting that, and essentially throwing himself spiritually at me. And I just was a little naive in thinking that somebody really could do that, or that it would be successful against me. And I think that aside from him having some like ethnic connections to spell work, I also think it's very relevant that that he has a physical connection to me, and a energetic connection to this space and all of that. I think that made it a lot easier for him to be able to access me that way. I don't know that a stranger would have been able to do that, but maybe. Either way, I'm ready now. So sighing on the track. You're welcome. Yeah, very much so. It messed with my peace. It messed with my confidence. It made me unsure of the decisions that I was making. It made me think that maybe I was conjuring him up myself. You know, it had me thinking like, oh my God, am I thinking about him? Like, do I miss him? Am I regretting my decision of leaving him? I'm like, when I'm awake, I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way at all. I feel really happy. I feel really sure of myself. I feel, you know, if anything, I wish I had done it faster, sooner. I wish I'd never gotten in this relationship in the first place. I wish I had seen these red flags. Like I feel really confident that I'm doing the right thing. And then I'm seeing this person all the time, and it's making me think like, well, why is that? You know, am I hooked on him in some way, and I'm not acknowledging that? Am I just mad? What the fuck is going on? So it was disturbing my peace. It was disturbing my confidence. It was making me unsure about the things that I was doing. You know, like I said, Kitty would pop up anytime I try to make a video for my OnlyFans or something like that. And then I'm like, am I not supposed to be doing these things? I'm enjoying them. I feel really liberated. I feel better now than I have in so many years. But then there are these weird moments. So it was filling me with doubt, self-doubt. Not cool. Very much. Very much. And you would be attached to. Like I would be attached to. If I had somebody in my life that literally supplied all of my energy, all of my positivity, all of my motivation to do anything, like all of my sense of being, I wouldn't want to let that person go either. If I wasn't such a wealth of light and energy and I took that from somebody else, I wouldn't want to let that go. Yep, exactly. And a gaslighter, he is. Thank you. Me too. Yeah. Basically doing in the spiritual realm what he had so effectively done for years to me in the, physical realm. Making me doubt myself, making me doubt my reality, making me think that I couldn't survive without him when really it's the other way around. Making me choose things that ultimately harmed me in order to keep him comfortable, to satisfy his vision or his desires, all of it just recreated in the spiritual. So Psalm 35, y'all. Or if you don't work with Bible passages, calling on darker vibrational energies. Oh, hold on. Last part of the story. I almost forgot. Last part of the story. So I told you I didn't have any more issues with the dreams after I confronted it in different form that last time. And I mentioned that the Psalm had a couple of verses that were very relevant, which was why I decided to read the entire Psalm as opposed to just the one verse. And in particular, it was the parts, let their way be dark and slippery, let the angel of the Lord persecute them. By the way, is why I included slippery elm in the poppet. But there was a part where it says, for without cause have they hid from me their net in a pit, which without cause they have digged for my soul. Let destruction come upon him at unawares, and let his net that he hath hid catch himself into that very destruction, let him fall. And then later on it says, let them be ashamed and brought to confusion together that rejoice at mine hurt. Let them be clothed with shame and dishonor that magnify themselves against me. So after the confrontational thing happened, another few days passed with like no issues in my dreams in other ways. And then I did dream about him again, one more time. And this was different. Every dream that I have ever had that he has popped up in, the dream has been set either in this apartment, like some weird dream version of this apartment, or in like a blank room that feels like my room. This dream, we're at his new place, which I have been to once to take the cat when he first moved in. So in my prayers and in my spell, I'm asking not just for this monitoring spirit to be banished, but to turn it on him. Because at this point, you are really fucking with me for real. And I want you to have a taste of your own medicine. I want to flip this on you. I don't want to just banish this thing. I want to go monitor you. That was a part of my spell. So a few days after the last instance with the friend dream, I have a dream and I'm in his apartment and I walk into his bedroom and he's in bed and he's got the sheets up like this, just looking at me scared, like, holding the sheets up like a kid in bed in a movie. And I walk in, cool, calm, and collected. I go to the end of the bed. I take a blanket that's on the end of the bed and I just slowly fold it up neatly. I put it back down and then I walk out and I leave him there, sitting under the covers. I've never done that. I'm really not much of an astral projector, or at least I've never really tried. I've never been terribly interested in doing so. I don't really like to travel in the waking world, so I'm not trying to go anywhere in my dreams. I'm tired. I like to stay still. You come to me. And yeah, this was one of the first times that I've ever projected into somebody else's home space. And I felt like that was spirit letting me know that I have turned the tables on him. And that if I want to do what he's been doing to me, I absolutely can. If I want to show up in his dream every night, if I want to give him the eerie feeling of being watched and monitored, if I want to fill his mind up with doubt, if I want to be a lingering presence in his dreams, in his mind, I absolutely can. And I got the feeling of Celie in The Color Purple when she says, "Until you do right by me." That's how I felt. I felt like I walked in there and was just like, and then walked out. Just to let you know, I can play this game too. Devil's Dung is another good sulfur replacement. Ooh, thank you. So is asafoetida. The Indians use it a lot. Asafoetida. It's usually in powder form too. Yeah. Yeah. Really did. I thought that was really interesting because the Bible verse said, let the traps that you set for me be set for you, and let you be clothed in your shame. And here he is sitting there all vulnerable and, oh my God, what are you doing here? Yeah. Oh, asafoetida is the same? Okay. That's what it smells like. Makes sense. Got it. Asafoetida is devil's dung. Got it. So yeah, that's the story, witches. That's what happened. Yes. So anywho, I think I've covered all of the pertinent parts, but if there are any questions, drop them now. Otherwise, I'm going to peace out. I've held you guys for quite a while. A reminder to everyone who's watching on YouTube, this is High Tea Live. I am Allie, aka BronxWitch, and I do these lives every month around the full moon where I take your magical questions. And I usually have a topic of choice to kind of keep us centered, keep us organized. But any magical questions are welcome. This is an exclusive for Coven witches. So if you're wondering why your comments, questions, etc. have not been up on the screen or not addressed, it is because I only take comments and questions from the Coven witches that are in the stream room. So you want to get in the stream room next time. And to do that, you just have to join the Coven. You get a 7-day free trial so you can come in there and see what we're all about. We have a book club, a support group for witches of color, monthly Moonlit Metaphysics with our online portal administrator, Alexis. We have guest instructors that come through. And whenever we have a guest instructor, Coven members get to take the class for free. We have monthly discount codes that give you discounts on our classes and on products in the BronxWitch HeadQuarters shop. So lots of amazing things going on in the Coven. Definitely a valuable place to be. We are a Coven community, so we're not an initiatory Coven. There's no high priestess. There's no tradition. It's basically just a space for solitary witches that want to come together, not be alone, meet other witches. We have an awesome discussion feed with various subtopics. I'm definitely going to post the Hoodoo Monitoring Spirit song in the Coven feed under spells when I'm done here. And that's about it. That's what you need to know. I don't know yet. I don't know yet what I'm going to do about Miss Kitty. I don't know if now that the monitoring spirit has been removed, if this will no longer be an issue. I think if when I let her come back, I'm going to monitor her and see if she's showing any of those weird signs that she was showing before. And then I'll have to take it from there. I might give her to him completely. I don't know. Someone had mentioned that just giving her to him completely and getting a new cat at some point for myself. I might. I don't know. I love my kitty baby, but you got to do what you got to do. Everyone do a cleanse. Don't carry this to bed. Wise words. Oh, you're welcome, Leslie. No. Can you imagine all of a sudden I have like a fur stole that looks suspiciously like Kitty? No, I would never. Not my baby. No, if it was that serious, I would just say, hey, you can keep her. You know, I would just make something up. I would just be like, I can't handle the expenses of it anymore. You know, I'm too busy. I can't. That's okay. Dark humor is allowed. It's funny. I wouldn't. I don't think I would do that. But yeah, I would just let him keep her and say, you know, I don't want to have to see you every month for this whole exchange thing anymore. You just keep her, and you know. So that might happen. That might happen. I'll miss my baby for sure. She's mine. I got her. I wanted her. Like all good things in his life, I'm the reason for it. And he didn't really want her to begin with. And I pushed the issue and made it happen. And then he fell in love with her. So yeah, so we'll see. We'll see. So the jury's still out on what's going to happen with Miss Kitty. Let's see if she still wants some weird shit when she comes back over here. So, but I don't see any other questions rolling in, and it's pretty late, so I'm going to let you guys go. I will be live again this week, but Tuesday night. Other than that, I have a class on Wednesday that I'm super excited about at 10 o'clock, Launching Your Spiritual Enterprise, Crucial Foundations for Lasting Success. So for my tarot readers, Reiki healers, my candle makers, spiritual product creators, if you would like to see yourself no longer working your 9 to 5 and doing what you do spiritually or magically full time, I want to teach you how to do that. I want to give you the foundations to that. And the cool thing about this class is it's taught from the perspective of a witch. So we're going to be talking about the mundane stuff, but also the magical stuff. And I'm going to show you how the principles that underlie my magic have also helped me in business. And I'm going to break that down for you, as well as introduce you to some platforms, some people that you definitely want to know that will help you with a solid foundation to the start of your business. And my class, 10 Steps to Becoming a Better Witch, is available. All of my classes live forever in the BronxWitch HQ online portal, so you can access them at any time. I think 300 witches have taken this class at this point, and it's my breakdown of the 10 areas of concentration that you want to really focus on in order to go from baby witch, somebody who does witchy things, to better witch, somebody who is living a magical life all the time. Love that class. Really, really proud to offer it to you guys, and it's available always. All of my classes are available in the HQ online portal, and I'm sure there's a link in the description of this video. All right. So I will see all of my Coven witches next month. YouTube folks, I don't know if I'll live stream this to YouTube. We'll see how I feel. But Coven Witches, I will definitely be with you around the full moon next month. I think it's kind of early in the month. It's like the 17th or something like that. I'm not sure yet what the topic is going to be, so stay tuned to the discussion feed. I'll definitely drop it down there when I know. But Alexis and I have been talking about doing a live about healing the witch's wound, which is something that I think many of us struggle with. The fear of being outed, the fear of being ostracized for being a witch, the fear of even claiming that title, because perhaps in previous lifetimes we have been prosecuted, persecuted for being practitioners. And we want to talk about what it's like to uncover that for yourself and how you can heal that within yourself so that you can be more confident as a practitioner, especially if you want to, wear that proudly, tell the world about it, not be afraid to do so. So that might be next month's topic, but we shall see. Yeah. The kitty show. I know. But she loves him. She'll know the difference. It's fine. Good night, everybody. Good night, witches. Yes, a wild type topic tonight. Good night. Love you guys. Blessed be. See you next time.